League Park, Cleveland's first ballpark. Built in 1890 as a multi-use facility, it was also the home to the then Cleveland Spiders of the National League. An aerial view shows its odd shape. This is because when it was being built, there was a saloon and two homes whose owners refused to sell their property, causing League Park to be built around them. The left field fence measured 353 feet, while the right field fence was only 290 feet. The ballpark's grandstands were a single-level wooden structure with a capacity of 9,000. League Park saw its first baseball game on May 1, 1891, when none other than Cy Young took the mound. Well, the box as it was called back then, for the Cleveland Spiders. In 1895, before the World Series or the American League even existed, League Park was host to the first 3 games of the Temple Cup. The Temple Cup was a 7-game championship series between the first and second place teams of the National League. The 1895 Temple Cup was between the Cleveland Spiders and the Baltimore Orioles, with the Spiders winning the series 4-1. In 1901, the American League was formed and Cleveland was granted a team. That team was called the Cleveland Bluebirds or the Cleveland Blues. Then in 1903, the team's name changed again to the Cleveland Napoleons or Naps, named for star player Napoleon Knapp Lajoie. In 1910, League Park saw its first renovation since being built. The wooden structure was replaced with a steel and concrete park, and a second level of seats and boxes were added, upping League Park's capacity to around 27,000. In 1950, the team changed its name to the Cleveland Indians. 1920 was a year of tragedy and triumph. Ray Chapman, the Indian shortstop, was struck and killed by a pitch in New York while playing the Yankees. Later that year, the Indians went on to win their first World Series against the Brooklyn Robins, later to be called the Dodgers, winning that series 5-2 in a then 9-game series. During this World Series, 3 Major League firsts happened. Bill Wambsgans recorded the first and what remains only unassisted triple play in a World Series. Jim Bagby became the first pitcher to hit a home run in a World Series. And Elmer Smith hit the first grand slam in the Major League postseason. League Park has seen many Major League Baseball records or firsts happen. Walter Johnson and Tris Speaker both hit their 3,000th hit in 1923 and 1925, respectively. 1923, the Indians scored 27 runs against the Boston Red Sox, setting the Major League Baseball record for most runs by a team in a 9-inning game. 1929, Babe Ruth hit his 500th home run at League Park. Cleveland great Bob Feller pitched his first professional game in 1936. In 1941, Lou DiMaggio hit safely in his 56th consecutive game, a record that still stands today. However, that streak came to an end the very next day across town at Lakefront Stadium, later known as Cleveland Municipal Stadium. In 1932, Cleveland built a brand new stadium along the lake. Lakefront Stadium was massive, boasting a center field wall at 463 feet. Upon its opening in 1932, Lakefront Stadium did not have a contract with the Cleveland Indians, so they did not play their first game at the new facility until July 3rd of that year. After playing a full season at Lakefront Stadium in 1933, due to the massive size of the field, the Indians saw their offensive numbers plummet. Because of this and some financial issues, the Indians actually split their time playing between League Park and Lakefront Stadium from 1934 to 1946. They would play their weekday games at League Park and their weekend and holiday games at Lakefront Stadium. After the 1946 season, the Indians left League Park for good and began playing full-time at Lakefront Stadium, now called Cleveland Municipal Stadium. League Park continued to be used by the Cleveland Buckeyes of the Negro League from 1934 until 1946, with the Buckeyes becoming Negro League World Series champions in 1945. Also, the Cleveland Rams of the NFL used the field for its games during the 1940s, including their NFL championship season of 1945. However, the title game was played at Cleveland Municipal Stadium in the anticipation of larger crowds. The Cleveland Browns never used League Park for their games, but they did use the field as a practice facility into the 1960s. In 1951, the city of Cleveland purchased League Park. The deteriorating stands were torn down and the area was converted into a playground, with a portion of it being used as a swimming pool. Over the next 50 years, pieces of what remained slowly were dismantled and removed. The park remained as a recreation area, with the old field occasionally being used for pickup games. In 1979, the site was declared a Cleveland landmark and won listing on the National Register of Historic Places. In the early 2000s, a 7th Ward councilwoman, Fannie Lewis, started an initiative to raise money to restore the old park. And in 2014, the new League Park was unveiled after a $5 million renovation. The corner building at the intersection of Lexington Avenue and 66th Street is an original piece of the old League Park. It served as a ticket office and had a ramp that led from the building into the grandstands. This building now houses the Baseball Heritage Museum, which is full of historic relics from League Park. You can take a guided tour of the museum and grounds for $10. I highly recommend doing so. The tour guides are very knowledgeable and so passionate about the history of the ballpark. Down the 66th Street side of the park, a section of the brick wall that was once one of the outside walls of League Park still remains. The concrete courtyard between the brick outer wall and the baseball field has faded numbers painted that represent important years in the history of League Park. With some imagination, the aluminum grandstands that wrap the home plate area allow you to sit there and imagine what it would have been like to watch some of the greatest players in baseball history, Babe Ruth, Cy Young, Bob Feller, playing right here in front of you. I recommend taking a walk around the entire field while imagining what baseball would have looked like when League Park was in its prime. If you are planning on taking a trip to Cleveland, this is a must visit.